Torah. It's the glue that has held our Jewish society together for many generations. Each Torah, meticulously crafted, is the soul of our religion and culture. The Torah was there for bar mitzvahs, for weddings, for Shabbat each week. Its words created passionate dialogue between teacher and student. Its presence commanded respect and would be protected at any cost. During World War II, many Torahs were stolen by the Nazis and went on a journey of survival with its people. 75 years later, the Torahs and our spirits still survive. Scattered over many miles, these surviving Torahs are here with us, part of our synagogues and community. Hidden beneath their skin are the stories and emotions that were of our ancestors. Stripped of their history and community, each Torah has a story. What temple was this Torah from? Where was it located? What were the people like? Did they look like me? With the help of new technologies, we can find out. And that's the job of the Torah detectives.
All their supporters are happy, it is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy.
So this is the oldest Torah scroll in our collection. We think it's at least 260 years old, and it comes from a town in what is now the former Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, a town called Austerlitz, which also goes by another name too, which is very difficult for me to say, Slovov or something like that. And it was discovered in 1963 when an art professor went over to Czechoslovakia. He was interested in collecting Eastern art, and he was in Prague. And somebody said, do you know anybody who is interested in a lot of Torah scrolls? It turns out that there was a synagogue in Prague that had over 1,500 Torah scrolls just stacked up on top of each other that the Nazis had put in there. Scrolls from synagogues that they had stolen. They stole the scrolls from them. The scrolls were moved to a synagogue in England, to Westminster Synagogue, and in 1967, this scroll came to Temple Israel and has been here ever since. So this is a book that somebody put together called The Jews of Austerlitz, and there are old pictures of, like, this is what the interior of the synagogue used to look like.
Did they all come from the same synagogue, or they all just end up there when the Nazis left them?
Well, it was a small Jewish community, so everybody would go to one synagogue. If you went to synagogue at all, you would go to that one synagogue. And what happened was, when the Nazis invaded Czechoslovakia in World War II, one of the first things they did was that they uprooted Jews from different towns around Austerlitz, and they were forced to go live in Austerlitz with the Jewish families who were there. So can you imagine if that were to happen today, if you had to take in another family to come and live with you, because total strangers, because they had been uprooted from their home. And then in 1942, the Nazis gave the order for the community to be transported, and most of the people from Austerlitz died in Terezin, which was one of the concentration camps. Some of the Torahs were in terrible shape. I saw one report that some of the scrolls even had blood on them. I mean, so they had been, and I've also been told that in some of the scrolls, when the scribes went in to repair them, to test them, just to catalog how many scrolls were in there, that there were notes in some of them that people had written, like, what is to become of our Jewish community? I mean, this is our link to that community.
During those years when people lived there, could they go to the temple and read these scrolls to get bar mitzvahed?
This is what they would use when they became, weren't doing a bat mitzvah at that time, but when the young man would become bar mitzvah, he would read from this scroll.
I'd really love to know who spent their entire career just making this Torah and dedicating themselves like day after day writing this and perfecting it.
Well, I'm just thinking about this whole Torah, and I'm wondering and I'm thinking about the way it was read in this community in the Czech Republic, like how it was different than we read it now, and maybe what traditions were different, maybe which ones were lost, which ones were retained, and I just find that really fascinating.
I wonder how many people have read from this Torah in its lifetime so far.
And that's the job for the Torah detectives.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
So this Torah that we're looking at is 110 years old, and it's from Romania, which is a country in Eastern Europe. And I have no idea how we got it here. There's some interesting things about it. Do you notice up top? Can you see these are called Eitz Chaim, or Atzei Chaim in plural, and that's a tree of life, so that's what's called what holds the Torah together. And do you guys notice how these ones are decorated? All right, and do you see, just take a look, can you see a difference in two places about the Eitz Chaim? Can you see how it changes?
Some of the wood's different. Like
yeah, the wood's different.
Some of the wood rings.
Yeah, the ring is, this one is lighter than that one.
Right.
Well, so my bat mitzvah is this weekend, and I know that boys were bar mitzvahed with this Torah, but I'm wondering which boy, maybe 100 years ago, was bar mitzvahed with this one.
As I know there are many, many Hebrew words in this Torah, I wonder who took the time to write this entire Torah. They must have been really dedicated to writing it.
When was this Torah first used? And what and when and where?
I know this Torah is well over 100 years old, but I want to know who repaired this Torah, who took the time and the money to repair it.
Well,